Welcome back to Post-Traumatic Bliss. My name is Kanini. In this video, we are going to talk about finding love for people with low self-esteem or people who are anxious about getting into love relationships. And we're going to see the mistakes that they normally make and what they can do to stop them so that they can find love with the perfect partner who is going to give them perfect love. So if you're there and you have low self-esteem when it comes to finding love, this presentation is for you. So I want you to watch it till the end for your own benefit so that you can know what you do when it comes to meeting people, connecting with them, the mistakes you normally make, and what you can do to stop making those mistakes and finally get love, get married and have a beautiful love story of your life. Let's dive right in. Why is love necessary in our life? Love brings us peace of mind, and this is why love is a very important thing. It brings you to homeostasis, to balance, to peace. When you don't have love in your life, any kind of love, you will not be at peace. There is a peace of mind that is brought about by love, and this is why it's a powerful force. But why are we not able to form relationships that bring us peace? This is the center of this presentation, so don't go away. Stick to the end and see what's happening to us, people with low self-esteem. For example, meet somebody like Mike. Mike has already made the big step. He has met the woman of his dreams. And then he starts feeling that she might leave him. He could not afford to make any mistakes because he feels like it's a matter of time until she sees him for who he really is, and then she leaves him. So Mike is insecure because he doesn't feel like he deserves to be with this woman that he adores. We can say that Mike has some insecurity. And Mike, we can say for sure, he is anxious about this relationship. And he feels a little bit of low self-esteem because he doesn't feel like, he is worthy of this woman. Whether he's worried that, oh my God, issues from my past will come and then she will leave me, or she will realize that I don't make enough money and then she'll leave me, or any kind of insecurity that he has, and he thinks like this might be it, this might be the final straw that breaks the camel's back, and then she goes. He has low self-esteem. So why is Mike anxious? You want to ask, why is he so anxious about, being with this woman that he actually loves and wants to be with? What is wrong with Mike? So this is exactly the kinds of questions that you want to ask yourself. What is wrong with me? Why am I anxious? I love this person. They seem to like me. Why am I feeling like they'll go away any minute? So let's see what's happening. So what Mike and what you need to understand is that we have different types of attachment styles. For Mike, we can see he's already anxiously attached. We have people who are secure, we have people who are avoidant, and then we have people who have a mix of anxious and avoidant. It's kind of like a blend. So these attachment styles, some of them don't work well together. And a lot of people kind of make the mistake of probably you're avoidant and you meet another avoidant person, and then you both avoid each other to infinity and you never meet. If you're anxious and avoidant, we are going to see the dynamics of that relationship. Most people who help us form beautiful relationships are the secure people. Secure people are the best people to connect and make relationships with. So Mike is anxious and he might benefit from being with that secure person. So like we have said, some styles are like oil and water. They do not mix. If you meet somebody with an attachment style that doesn't go well with your attachment style, there's going to be conflict and you will not work together. And what you're not going to create peace in that relationship. You're not going to create peace of mind. You're not going to create true love. And this is why I say that you should know your attachment style. So let's look at the anxious attachment style. You're 2 weeks into the relationship, and then you start wondering and worrying if the man will find you attractive or he'll dump you. You're worried he will not call. You're anxiously attached. Let's look at avoidance. Avoidance are usually, they lose interest very, very early on in the relationship. You will find that this person is probably very good looking and very financially well off. After a few dates, after a few weeks of a relationship, they lose interest. If you end up marrying somebody who has an avoidant style, for example, some women complain that they married their husbands, but they spend a lot of time working. They're always busy, and whenever they come home, they are glued to the TV. They don't want to really connect and talk or bond in any kind of way. And then after that, they go to their friends. They are always far away, and then after, it's either golf or football, anything but being there in the relationship. It's like they're avoiding the relationship, and you're like, why is this person avoiding me? I'm only here to love them and to wish them the best. These people are avoidant. It's like they avoid bonding at any cost. When you push close to them, they move away. And I have seen that some people can turn to be avoidance because of the adult relationship they get into. For example, you love somebody, and then they start beating you, or they're cheating on you, they're stealing money from you. So whenever they try to act like they're close to you, you kind of avoid them because they're faking it. So sometimes you can move from a very secure attachment to an avoidant, even in a relationship, depending on the person that you're in a relationship with and how they are behaving, or your experiences. So what is your attachment style? If you grab this book, Attached by Amir Levin, you would do some quizzes here, and you would know your attachment styles. So if you wanted to know your attachment style, you can grab this book here, Attached by Amir Levin, right? I hope you can see this book. And there are quizzes here. Also, there are quizzes online that can help you understand like what your attachment style is at this moment, because sometimes they might change depending on your adult relationships that you have had, depending on your childhood, or sometimes it can be genetic. So attachment styles are, they can change over time. Fill in the blank. If you want true love, you want to bond with somebody so that they can bring you to a state of homeostasis, of peace of mind. Homeostasis is love. When you find peace of mind, that is love. So, love is peace of mind, and attaching with somebody who loves you, they can bring you peace of mind, which can bring you good health and happiness in your life. And we only have one life. So, anyway, this presentation, like I said, is for people with an anxious attachment style. Why? Because people with an anxious attachment style, they want to connect with people. It's not like they are out there not wanting to connect with people. They want to connect with people, but they are anxious about this kind of love styles. And this presentation is going to help anybody with low self-esteem who are anxious to finally figure out what's going on with them, and to be able to move past those hurdles and find love. Because I believe that people with anxious attachment styles, they deserve happiness so that they can come back to balance, to peace of mind, to homeostasis, where we all want to be. So Mike, who is anxious, and we now know that his attachment style is anxious. He wants to make sense of all of this. So he's like, what does it mean? Well, let's go back to the very beginning and find out why Mike has this anxious nervous system. So meet the pioneers of the attachment theory. These John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, they are the founders of the attachment theory. So before the 1950s and 1960s, most psychologists did not even appreciate the importance of the bond between a parent and a child in love relationships until Bowlby and Ainsworth coined the theory on attachment. So what does that theory say? So prior to the research, most people actually thought that a child learned to associate with the parent, the mother, because of nourishment. Prior to that, most psychologists thought that children learned to associate with their mothers because of nourishment, because of breastfeeding and food. And they sought the proximity of the mothers because they wanted nourishment. But what Bowlby observed is that even infants who are well nourished, and they had their needs taken care of, but they lacked an attachment figure, somebody to just bond with and, feel like they are in love with. If they lacked that, they found that, like, for example, the kids that were raised in institutions, kids that were displaced during the World War, if they failed to develop normally. They had stunted physical, intellectual, emotional, and social development. So that connection, just bonding, right? Bonding was essential to a child's survival, just as food, water, and clothing, right? So we now understand that the Maslow hierarchy of needs definitely needs to change to be love, food, shelter, clothing, because we cannot take away love in a child's development. If love is as essential as food and water and air, right? So love is a very, very, very powerful emotion. Our ability to attach and to bond with somebody affects our mental states, our physical, our intelligence, our emotional states, our social life, everything that helps you to be able to be successful in life. So attachment, bonding with somebody in love, is very, very powerful and healing and necessary for your love, for your life. And we also go to show that there are studies that shows that infants actually die in hospital where they're being fed and changed, but if no one is touching them, an infant can die, right? So depending on others, now we see, is not a weakness. When you need people, it's not a weakness, it's necessary. It's not a choice, it's a fact of life that you need others, you need to bond and attach with other people. That is necessary in your life. So we see that emotional deprivation, right, for children, when there's nobody to touch them, to hug them, to bond with them, that kind of emotional deprivation caused metabolic problems for children. They had like poor sleep, and then they had faltering growth, where they had very stunted growth. So attachment goes wrong when we are not able to attach and depend on others. So if somebody is telling you you're too needy, they are just gaslighting you, because needing people is good and it's beautiful and it's a fact of life. So when we attach, we become one. And oneness is love, right? Love is one. So when we become attached to somebody, just think about what is happening when we attach to somebody. The two of us form one physiological unit. Yeah? So it's one physiological unit. Your partner will regulate your blood pressure, your heart rate. They will regulate the breathing level, your breathing, and even they will regulate the levels of hormones in your blood. So you can imagine we become one physiological unit. And that is why we say dependency is a fact. It's not a choice. When two people form an intimate relationship, they regulate each other's psychological and emotional well-being. And their proximity and availability influences their stress response. For a lot of people who are not very like scientific, they'll be like, yes, there is something that forms when somebody like makes love to another person. They're like, you become you bond. It's physical, it's also spiritual. Yeah, there's energy involved in that because you're breathing the same way, your heart rate is beating the same way, and your hormones, your levels of hormones are changing probably the same way. So love is a real thing. It's a oneness, connecting, becoming one unit. So after Mary Ainsworth and John Bowlby founded the attachment theory, which is beautifully explained in this book, Attached. This book is written by Emil Levine and Rachel Heller, and this is one of the best theories out there when it comes to finding love and keeping love. So we are going to explore this attachment theory with you if you have low self-esteem, so you can understand what is going on in your childhood, how it affects the way you find love, and how you can use that to your advantage so that you can find love. Make sure you're watching this whole video to the end because you're going to find a lot of important material here. So let's move on. So this is the book. If you can find it on Amazon, Attached by Emil Levine and Rachel Heller. This is going to be a beautiful book for you to read. And we are going to use, most of this presentation is going to use material from this book, Attached, so that we can actually understand why and how people with low self-esteem can find love once again. About 6 months during pregnancy, the baby starts attaching to the mother. So you can imagine that when the baby is in the mother's womb, everything here is provided for. They have nourishment, they have food, they have water, they have everything. The temperature is just right. They don't need to get wet because even if they need to eliminate toxins in their body, the mother's body does that for them automatically. They can sleep there. It's never too hot or too cold. Like a baby is in paradise. They can't even breathe for themselves because the mother is doing that job. So they don't need anything. When a woman is pregnant in the belly, their environment is so controlled that they never have to think about it, about what's going on. So thanks to our mothers, we know what paradise is a little bit. So what happens? Then the baby is born, and the first thing, they're shocked. Kids, when they're born, they're probably shocked. It's like, it's so cold out here. It's not so much like the Goldilocks zone is gone and it's cold. Now they need a blanket, because the environment is no longer so cozy anymore. They are, welcome to life. They have to breathe for themselves. They literally cut the umbilical cord to tell the baby, it's time you use your lungs. Breathe for yourself. And so the baby is usually crying all the time because they can't understand this new environment they are in. It's too hot, sometimes it's too cold, and then they have this unfamiliar feeling. They feel hungry and they scream. If they get wet because of their diaper is wet, they cry. And I can imagine the baby almost saying like, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? Is that diaper wet and you haven't changed it? Yeah. They scream. The environment is very different from what they are used to. They used to have automatic food. If they're hungry, they're fed when they're in the mother's womb. Right now, somebody has to actually feed them because a baby does not have a job. They can't feed themselves. They don't even know what a job is. So, or where food comes from, they have no clue. Somebody has to meet those needs for them. So if they are not met, the baby lets you know that you're not doing a good job, and they scream and they scream. Their only weapon is to scream helplessly until you meet their needs. And so you see that some parents are very, very gentle with their babies, and they provide for them, they nurture them, they help them grow, they help them understand the complex world around them. And then there are parents who complain, who shout, who scream, and this affects the baby's nervous system. So if you have a mother who is attentive. When the baby, like even before the baby cries, they know, oh, my baby ate 2 hours ago, so the next feeding is in 1 hour. They are timing the baby. They know, oh, probably right now the baby has wet itself, so let me go change the diaper. The mother will make the baby feel secure because the mother is very attentive. And it may not be the mother, it may be the caregiver, whoever, maybe the adopted caregiver helping the baby through life. If they are very attentive, the baby will feel secure. But if they are forgetting that the baby even existed, and 3 hours pass, the baby hasn't been fed, and the baby gets a diaper rash because nobody's taking care of the baby is going to be anxious because the baby doesn't know when they're going to get fed. The baby doesn't know if they're going to get infected by a diaper rash because it starts burning them, nobody's changing them. They become very anxious. They don't feel, they're not in homeostasis all the time because the mother is putting them in anxious, or the mother or the caregiver. I'm sorry, I keep using the word mother all the time. It could be even the father or the caregiver. If they're not putting the baby in homeostasis by meeting their needs, the baby becomes very anxious. And then we have the caregiver who screams at the baby, or doesn't feed the baby, puts loud music, not soothing to the baby's nervous system at all. So the baby doesn't like this kind of a caregiver because they make them anxious, right? And instead of trying to connect with the caregiver, the baby learns to not connect with the caregiver, like this is no bueno. And so the baby becomes an avoidant. They're kind of like, I'll try to soothe myself because you're kind of useless. So we find that love here again being presented as peace of mind, right? Is the parent loving to you? Are they nourishing? Are they bonding with you? Or is the parent not there, unable to provide for you, or just outright unwilling to do those things? That affects how people develop their attachment styles. For people with an anxious attachment style, for the sake of this presentation, you are kind of like that baby when the mother goes away or the caregiver goes away. You don't know when they're going to return, so you're anxious. They haven't fed you. You don't know when else they're going to afford a meal to feed you. They may love you so much, but they are unable to keep you in homeostasis, in a restful state, because of their situation or because of the environment that you're born in. So you become very anxious. So that's why we have different attachment styles. Secure people who have a secure attachment style from their upbringing have parents who are attentive. They bond with a caregiver who is soothing to them. Anxious attachment style caregivers, they might be loving to you, but they are not consistent with that. And avoidant is the caregiver doesn't really, is not there. And then we have the anxious and avoidant, which is a mix of anxious and avoidant. And this one is a very, very confused state of mind, because it's kind of difficult to heal this kind of state of mind, but attachment styles can change. But some people are anxious and avoidant, and that can really affect how you bond with other people, and especially intimate relationships. Secure parenting. This attachment style you have is a reflection of the caregiver you had. Again, we see here the programming of attachment style of the nervous system and the way it affects us in adult relationship. A secure parent, you're well bonded with them, they're taking care of you. Secure parenting is important for our mental state, for our nervous system, for our peace of mind. That is true love coming from a parent. Then we have, avoidance. When you have a parent who's always criticizing you, blaming you, beating you, you can never do anything right, screaming at you, barking orders, they are not able to connect with you, you kind of learn to avoid them. A lot of people would say, when my father came to at home, I used to go to my room. You're avoiding this monster because he's not helping you regulate and feel at peace. So yeah, you become more fearful of bonding with people, because the moment you bond with them, they turn into a monster, right? You become avoidant. And also we have seen now, kids who cry because their parents are going away. It's because they don't know when this parent is going to return, right? They don't know when they're going to be fed. They don't know, some parents go, and they haven't explained to you where they've gone. They've left you. They've gone to pick coffee or whatever. And you never know when they're going to come. And you become very anxious because children need a caregiver constantly. So if you used to cry when your parent is leaving the house, you know that you have an anxious attachment style, because you're crying, and when they come back, you're still crying. You're not able to be calmed down. That means you have an anxious attachment style. So now that we know that Mike is anxiously attached, can we help Mike find love? Yes, of course we can help Mike find love. So what Mike needs to know is that because he's anxiously attached, right, he needs to be with a secure partner. Only a secure partner will be good for Mike, because any other partner will not be soothing to his nervous system. Right? Any other partner will not be soothing to his nervous system. So we want to encourage Mike to choose a partner who is secure. And we are going to help people with low self-esteem find this partner here, because this partner here is the love of their life, and they've been missing them because they've probably been looking for the avoidant or the anxiously avoidant partner. There's a lot of drama in these relationships, but ultimately these relationships fail, and I was reading and I realized, let's say in North America, divorce is 50%. It means that we have 50% relationships working because 50% of the people are secure and 50% of people have these insecure attachment styles. Insecure attachment styles are anxious avoidant and anxious avoidant. Insecure people have this kind of attachment styles. So we want to look for people who are secure. So this is why, people with an anxious attachment style, they worry, will my parent come back? Or, you start as an adult, you worry, will they call me back? Are they gone? Or are they going to come back? We never know. If I am anxiously attached, we never know if we are being ghosted, and our nervous system gets activated. We get anxiety, especially, if you have been intimate with somebody and they stop calling you. People with an anxious attachment style, they'll get their nervous system activated, right? They are activated and they start, this can kind of drive them temporarily crazy. And this is what people like Mike, when he's wondering whether the girlfriend will stay or whether she's going to leave, is because from his childhood, he has parents who are not consistent at meeting his needs, and now they made him anxious, and now in his adult relationships, he's wondering whether the same thing is going to repeat itself. They are anxiously attached. And that's why they need to find somebody who is secure, somebody who will automatically meet their needs, and who has been trained to do that. So let's look at people with a secure attachment, how people attach. Okay, so secure people only gravitate towards people who are emotionally available to them, people who make them happy. Anxious people are addicted to the highs and the lows of a relationship, and avoidance are looking for the one, right? And they get cold feet when someone starts to get close to them. So as an anxiously attached person, we want to go the secure way. We want to start dating people like the way secure people date. We want to gravitate only towards people who are emotionally available, people who want to make us happy. So if you're anxiously attached, don't look for the highs and lows in a relationship. That is not love. That is just a dynamic chaos. We want to look for people who are naturally wanting to gravitate towards us, people who are emotionally available, and people who are able to make us happy, because this is what secure people do. So research has shown that anxiously attached people, they thrive in relationships with people who have a secure attachment style. So if you're secure and you have low self-esteem, my challenge to you is love yourself enough to look for a partner who is secure, who is available, who wants to make you happy, and who is capable of making you happy. That's all you gotta do. So we look for partners the same way secure people look for partners. We are not going to pick an avoidant partner. If somebody has an avoidant attachment style, we are going to view them as a rotten, bad apple that we don't want to pick. And then if somebody has a secure attachment style, they are available, they are secure, they are capable of meeting our needs, and they want to, that's the secure person that we want to pick, because that's the person who is going to soothe our nervous system and who is going to bring us the peace of mind that we anxious people long for. So we're going to pick people who are secure so that we can be anchored into peace and calmness, because secure people are an anchor. So relationships with secure people are the best predictor of happiness in a relationship. So a secure attachment style is necessary if you want to be in a long-term happy relationship. You want to be with someone secure, or you need to become that person who is secure. Relationships are high on satisfaction, commitment, and trust if there is security in that relationship. If people are secure, they'll be high on satisfaction, commitment, and trust. Secure people may seem boring to you, especially if you have an anxious attachment style, because they don't have drama, right? But they are relationship heroes. They know how to soothe you, how to love you, how to provide, how to nurture. They are secure. So, why do relationships between anxious people? I think I just experienced an earthquake, and it happened this morning, and it has happened again. It's around 4:53 p.m. and it has happened again. So, whoa, just continue. So why do relationships between anxious and secure people thrive? If I was to ask you, well, it is important to choose a secure partner when you're anxiously, or another way to put it, why is it important to choose a secure partner when you are anxiously attached? So the first thing is that you want closeness and intimacy, and a secure partner They are comfortable with closeness and they do not try to push you away. So go the secure way, right? So another reason, you are sensitive to signs of rejections, right? Because we have a vigilant nervous system. So secure people, they are very consistent and reliable, and they won't send you mixed signals or messages that will upset you. If you become distressed, they actually know how to reassure you that everything is fine. I'm committed to this relationship just as you are, because they are secure. They don't play games. There's no drama. So if you're anxiously attached, look for somebody who is secure, right? Okay, another reason is that you find it hard to tell them directly what you need and what's bothering you. You know, that kind of effective communication. People with anxious attachment style have not developed this because of their earlier upbringing. So sometimes they use protest behaviors. But if you choose a secure person, they see your well-being as top priority for them. And they do their best to read the verbal and non-verbal cues. So you want to be in a relationship with somebody who is secure. Non-brainer. You need to be reassured to feel loved. Because of your anxious attachment style, you're always nervous. Do they love me? They haven't called me. Are they really into me? Oh, did they find somebody else? If you fall in love with somebody who is secure, they feel comfortable telling you how they feel, and they are very easy in a consistent manner, right? You want to go the secure way. You need to know exactly where you stand in the relationship, right? Some people are like, oh, I want to be in a relationship, but I need like a year or 2 years to think about it, or 10 years. Now, people who are secure, they are very stable and they feel comfortable with commitment. They know that, hey, I am at that point in my life where I want to have children, get married, do all this. They're not playing games with you, and they are able to communicate that with you. So you want to go the secure route. So what are some of the characteristics of secure people? Let me put this another way. What are some characteristics that make people secure, and what can you expect from secure people in a relationship? Secure people secure people are programmed to love. They actually did a study of secure people, and they were flashing words like on the monitor, right? And they were able to recognize words that involved love, affection, friendship. They were able to remember those words like more easily than people with other attachment styles. So it means that they actually have a program of love attached to them. Affection, love, like these words were easy for them. It means that they are programmed. It's a program in their mind. So, if you wanted to become like a secure person, the first thing you do is to program your mind with a vocabulary that is rich in love, devoted, fidelity, allegiance, soft spot, sweetheart, cherish. You need to know these kind of words and what they mean in a relationship. You need to start programming yourself with the language of love, the ways of communicating love. How do people who are anxious in a relationship behave? People with an anxious attachment style are very sensitive. They can sense even the smallest threats in a relationship. They can detect the slightest drop in energy, because they need to feel safe. Because once that is activated, they are unable to calm down. Once a person with an anxious attachment style senses that you're pulling away, that will set off alarm systems in their nervous system, and they will not be able to calm down until you send another clear signal that everything is fine, So secure people will tune into your energy, and they know when to lean in. And this is why secure people are very good for people with an anxious attachment style, because they kind of sense your energy too, and they know when to come closer. Automatically, they can also sense your energy. But avoidance don't want to do that, or they're unwilling to do that. So another character, another characteristic of people with a secure attachment style is that they are good with conflict. They are great conflict busters, and they are not very defensive, and they will not try to injure their partner in an argument. It's not about winning and making you feel less than, They are also very mentally flexible, and they are not threatened by criticism, and they are always willing to consider their ways, their beliefs, and their strategies. So people with a secure attachment style, if you tell them, help me with this, do this, I don't like this, they are willing to change for you, because they're not threatened. They're there to help you grow, to help you achieve your goals. And if they are in the way of that, they can change, and without feeling any kind of threat. They are very good with communication. Secure people are very good at communicating because they expect other people to be understanding and responsive to them, and they love expressing themselves freely and accurately to their partners. That comes naturally to them. And this is why the anxious person can bond with the secure person. They can learn some of these ways of effective communication. Secure people are caring and forgiving. They are a safe zone. So they do not play games. They want closeness, and they believe others want the same things. They are comfortable with being close, and they do not have to fear like being slighted because they want closeness. They are very quick to forgive, and they also assume that their partners have good intentions, and therefore they are likely to forgive them. Secure people are responsible to their partners. They have been known to expect others to be responsive and loving towards them, so they are very responsive towards their partner's needs. They are also inclined to view sex and emotional intimacy as one. Most people with an insecure attachment style, they separate these two. So, they don't need to create that distance between separating the two. Secure people treat sex and emotional intimacy as one. Secure in their own, people with a secure attachment style, they are also confident in their beliefs about themselves and others, So they are very comfortable in their own power, and they treat their partners like loyalty. When you become part of their inner circle, they actually love you. People with a secure attachment style, they treat their partners like royalty. When you become part of their inner circle, they will treat you with a very deep love and respect. This is why we want to be with secure people. Secure people give you the things that you want. Love, hugs. They don't hold back on affection. They want to be close, and so they lean in. They lean into the relationship. They want that closeness and intimacy, and this is what brings you peace of mind. As an anxious person, That is scary. We've had 2 earthquakes like back to back. Hope this goes away. It's kind of scary. So essentially, if you're anxiously attached and you get yourself into a relationship with somebody who is secure, there'll be no drama. With other attachment styles, one person gets closer and then the other one pulls away. It's a whole different experience when you have a relationship with somebody with a secure attachment style. There is a feeling that you're growing in closeness and in intimacy. Secure people can become less secure, and there are reasons why they can become less secure. Our early relationship with our parents, right, affects how we become, whether our attachment styles, and then our genes also affect our attachment styles, and our adult experiences in a relationship can affect our attachment style. So when a secure person becomes insecure, it has been attributed to the romantic relationships that they have in adulthood, and they are so powerful that they can revise the basic beliefs and attitudes towards connectedness, closeness, and intimacy. So when a secure person goes insecure, it means that they kind of have been traumatized in that relationship. If you're insecure, anxiously attached, or a little bit of low self-esteem, avoid entanglements with people with an avoidant attachment style. This is no bueno. This will not work for you. And until you get this fact, you may never find true love, because why do we say avoid it? It's a trap. It's a trap that leaves you in a loveless dynamic. So this is how it happens. How does the trap look like? Avoidance, they inflate their self-esteem and sense of independence in comparison to somebody else. So an avoidant has to compare themselves with somebody else so that they can feel powerful. If you're anxious, you're programmed to feel less than because you've been anxiously attached. So avoidants feel powerful and independent to the extent that their partner feels needy and incapable. So this kind of a relationship for you, if you're anxious, you will not grow. And this is why avoidants do not date each other. Because why? They do not feel strong and independent in relation to somebody else who shares the same sentiments. Like, leave me alone, right? They cannot. So until you understand this dynamic, is important that you understand this dynamic, that avoidants feel strong and independent when you feel needy and incapable. Do you want to be in a relationship with a narcissist? Answer that. So it's a trap. It's a trap. So when an anxious and an avoidant, they get together, they heighten each other's insecurities and they create an anxious avoidant trap, a dynamic. It's a dynamic. It's not even a relationship. The avoidant will cope with stress by creating distance. And when they create distance in the relationship, you as the insecure person who is anxiously attached, you want to close the gap, because people with anxious attachment styles, they seek proximity and closeness so that they can soothe themselves when something goes wrong. But the avoidant copes with creating distance. So you can already see that if you solve problems by getting close and they solve problems by getting farther away, you'll be like this, like somebody is chasing the other one and the other one is moving away. So that is a trap. It's not a relationship. You will find that if you're anxious, right, you start feeling like, oh, I love this person, and then they heartbreak you, and then you come back together, and then your heart is shattered, and then the pieces come back together, then it's really taken out, right? And then we put more band-aid into that relationship. It's drama. You're getting yourself into drama, not a relationship. I want you to see these red flags and then avoid a relationship with somebody who is avoidant. Somebody who is not there for you because they're not completely sure why they want a relationship. They've been out of a relationship because of their childhood. They're avoiding the relationship. If you see red flags, you run. If they send you mixed signals, that's a red flag about their feelings towards you, or about their level of commitment towards you. It's a red flag. Hit that reject button, right? We don't want, you don't know whether it's a stop sign or you should go. It's mixed signals, right? You want to reject these people. They will tell you, oh, I just came out of a relationship, I am not ready to date yet. To be honest, I feel a little bit antsy about committing to somebody so quickly at this time in my life. Those are mixed signals. They want you, but something is holding them back. Hit that reject button, because that person is telling you they will not be able to give you the closeness that you need in a relationship. They are saying, I'm unavailable for you. I don't want closeness unless it's towards my terms, when I need it, not when you need it. So you have to get these cues. They send you a mixed signal, you hit the reject button. If they suggest that they are too busy, my schedule is too busy, we are always in different towns, I come home late, I'll be traveling for the whole of the next 3 months. They suggest that you are too needy, sensitive, they're invalidating you in any way, your feelings. They are making you second guess yourself about what your needs are in a relationship, and actually whether they should be satisfied or not. Hit that reject button. That person is telling you they are an avoidant in your life, in your love life. They will not give you the peace of mind that you need to thrive. You hit that reject button right there. Ting, ting, ting. You reject that kind of a person. Continue seeing red flags. If they disregard your emotional well-being, and when you confront them, they continue to disregard your emotional well-being, you reject them. That's a red flag. If you get into a relationship with somebody, it's either hot and cold, you feel like, it's kind of like hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. You find yourself fighting a lot. Sometimes you're fighting over things like laundry. They want to go drive 5-10 miles away, right, to do laundry, to be away from you, and you're like, you can do laundry, we can do laundry together, but they insist they want to do laundry by themselves. You fight a lot, but you find that your relationships hits a high, and then you feel like, oh, you're close, and then they pull away, and then you feel that now you're apart, and then you want that closeness. So you kind of fight a lot over things because they want to stay away in a relationship and you want closeness. So there was these two partners. One, they wanted to go on a vacation, and the woman was like, we can find like one king size bed, and the man was like, I want 2 queen size beds. Everybody sleep on their own. We are on a vacation. We don't need to sleep in the same bed. Somebody wants closeness and the other one doesn't want closeness. They're avoiding the relationship. And so they keep fighting over small things like, bed or laundry. But it's really because the relationship is not working. They're not well bonded. And they hit a high in a relationship, but then that is a threat to the avoidant, and they want to pull away from the relationship. And then now it's a low for the anxious partner. So when you're in a relationship with an avoidant partner, they will send you signals that you're not really the one. You're not really the one. There was somebody else. They want the ideal relationship, but really not with you. Like, you're not the one who fits that photograph very well. Like, you're not the one for that ideal relationship, right? Like, they desperately want to meet somebody. These people, they want to meet somebody, but they always find fault in that other person. Is the circumstances that somehow there are some circumstances forcing them not to be committed to you, because they think there is something better out there, like the one is out there. So it doesn't matter what you do. Reject, right? Remember to reject this kind of a person. If you're not the one, move on. You will also find that people with an avoidant attachment style, they find that what you say is inconveniencing them. They want to change the topic. It doesn't matter what you want. If it's an inconvenience for them, they're not going to provide it for you. You always feel like your messages don't get across. You have a plan for your life. You want to do A, B, C, D. You're trying to communicate to them, but it's kind of like it goes from one ear to the other. It kind of doesn't stick, right? Because they don't acknowledge anything that you say. When you put on something, I actually had one person tell me that they feel like they're being judged by what I'm saying. When I was actually addressing a dynamic in our relationship, they always say, like, I feel like I'm in a court of law, even if it's about facts, or something you're talking about your feelings. It turns out to be about them and how you're making them feel like they're being judged, they're in a court of law. So they don't seem to actually want to acknowledge your feelings or what you're going through. It's usually your problem. When you want to connect, it's like, and they don't, and you want to talk about them, they feel like you're caging them. Let them fly. They're always putting you at arm's length. You can't meet my family, you can't do this. They're not ready to commit. You have small imperfections. They're always zoning in on the small things that you do in that relationship, that the way you eat, the way you dress. It's kind of like they don't even want to accept you for who you are anyway. Move on. So they always think about their ex, how they were better than you. Like, they will flirt with other people because they don't see that as hurtful for you in that relationship, because they don't want to be there, right? They won't tell you that they love you or they have any feelings towards you. They don't want to make known what their feelings are towards you. They kind of want to keep you guessing, right? Let them go. When things are going well in a relationship, they start pulling away. They don't call several days, even after you've had an intimate date. Let that bird fly away. Forming a relationship sometimes is impossible for them. And this is when anxious people make the mistake. For example, if you choose somebody who was already going to avoid you because they're married or engaged or in another relationship, you're the one trapping yourself, because this person is impossible to have. That relationship has no future. So some relationships are just avoidant because you chose somebody who's taken. So when you get into a relationship with somebody who is an avoidant, that relationship is unstable. Even if it lasts long, even if it takes for 10 years, there'll be chronic dissatisfaction. You'll never find a degree of intimacy that you both are comfortable with. You don't know why you're fighting. You will keep fighting, minor fights, but the real thing is there's no intimacy in the relationship and they didn't want to be there. You become the enemy in their inner circle. They probably even hit you, or they do, I mean, in Swahili we say dharau. What is that? Like, they just show you like they don't want to be there. They treat you worse as time goes by, right? You're not royalty in that relationship. The only reason you stay there is because you're insecure, you're anxious, and you have low self-esteem. And then you develop a sense that the relationship is not right for you. But sometimes, you're too close to leave the relationship because you got trapped. You have children. You got trapped. You've already put your finances together. You got trapped into this relationship. When you want to go, it's kind of very hard to leave, actually. So instead of walking into a trap with an avoidant, start picking the right partner And people with an anxious attachment style, they need to learn this. Drop the bad boy, drop the married man, drop the person who has other goals and they don't think that you fit somehow into their perfect future. Move with somebody who is secure. So finding the right partner, the secure way, you first communicate your needs to them. I want to get married. I want children. What do you want? Everything, right? And then from day one, you start telling them, I have children. I want somebody who is going to be there consistently for my children. Can you do that? You tell them what your needs are from day one, right? And then you spot the red flags very early. We call them red flags or smoking guns. And then you treat them as deal breakers. He doesn't want to be a father, X. You just got out of a relationship. You're not ready for another one. It's a red flag. Out. You're out. Any of these red flags that tell you that they're not going to be committed to you in the long run, it's time for you to go. You bounce. Please do not lie to yourself. You're dating a married man, don't lie to yourself. They say they just got out of a relationship and you think that they'll somehow fall in love with you. Don't lie to yourself. You have children and they don't want to take care of them. Don't lie to yourself. They're not going to change this in the future. Treat them as deal breakers. I have a friend of mine, her name is Cindy. She works as a fitness coach. And she's already read this book. She already read this book, Attached, right? And she knows she's anxiously attached, but she's always going after the bad boy, And she's like, oh, they also need to be loved. Not by you. They do, but they're not choosing to be with you, right? When you know better, do better. They're like, avoidance can change. And I remember somebody telling me, like, how many social workers do you think it really takes to change a light bulb, right? And somebody said, 1, if the light bulb wants to change. So for me, for what I would say, I'll tell people with an anxious attachment style, sometimes you just have to let some people go. Sometimes you have to let some people go. Most people with a secure attachment style have a very anxious nervous system. So they're you can quickly tell somebody is not there for you in the long term. You can tell by the way they're avoiding, because your nervous system is very, very sensitive to any drop of interest, any drop of energy in that relationship. You can tell, right? So you know that this person, their intentions is not to make you happy, and you choose to stay. Don't. Move on. The obstacle is you. Don't try to change the other person, Change yourself. We can all change ourselves from being insecure to secure. Whether you have an anxious attachment style or whether you're an avoidant, you can actually change your attachment style from insecure to secure. And there are things that you can do to close in that gap between your insecurities and move on to being a very secure person. One thing you can do is you can communicate effectively. Not everybody has relationship compatible goals. Like sometimes you meet somebody, you have children, they don't want children. You want children, they don't want children. Be genuine, and tell the other person what you want. And if they are trying to keep you at arm's length, tell them, I don't think this relationship is going to work for me. All right. And that's how you will find somebody who will make you happy, because they'll just understand what you want and it might fit, right? The two of you might just make the best relationship. A lot of people who have anxious attachment style, they go dating with them thinking that, you know, that they won't find the one, that it's very hard to find the right partner. They have that scarcity mentality. You know, you need to go to the dating scene understanding that there's plenty of people, there's plenty of fish in that sea. You know, there are so many potential partners, and I do not have to settle for the avoidant who doesn't want to love me. You can date, go out on so many dates, go out on many dates, and expect to be treated with respect, dignity, and love. You know, and you're looking for the partner who is going to make you happy. And do not settle. Do not get intimate quickly with somebody before you know them. Communicate your deal breakers very early. Day one, right? Day one, you communicate what you want in a relationship. And if they are not there, you draw an X, it's a deal breaker, you're done. Yes. Never take blame for somebody's offensive behavior. When your partner acts very inconsiderate or hurtful, you know, secures acknowledge that that says a lot about them rather than you. And you dump them and you move on. You know, you can change your mind from being insecure to secure. And one of the ways that you can do is by being encouraging to your partner. You can provide your partner encouragement. You can accept them as they are and their goals. You can boost their self-esteem. You can be very encouraging to your partner. Another thing that you can do is to be available. Be available. Respond sensitively to your partner's distress and allow them to depend on you. And when they feel the need, you know, check in with them from time to time and provide comfort and be encouraging when things go wrong. That way you behave more like a secure person. Oops. Another thing, you know, don't interfere. Provide this. Sometimes people who are insecure, they like to interfere with other people's projects and they want to handle everything for them. You know, just support on the side, support them from the sides, right? And empower them, but do not take control. You know, allow them to do their own thing, and then don't try to take over the situation. Believe that you're amazing. People with anxious attachment style, they don't believe that they are amazing. And in fact, they make some of the best partners out there in the world. So what you're offering somebody is love, gentleness, kindness. That is amazing. You're an amazing human being. A lot of people don't even have that to offer. So you're offering somebody security in your love, in your relationship. So you're an amazing person, and go into the dating world thinking like, you know what, I'm amazing. So ultimately, you are the one making the choice of your partner. The power belongs to you. And this is the reason why I needed to make this presentation, to let you know that you're the one choosing your partner. Choose right. We have the power of choice. Your partner, if you choose your partner wisely, you might end up with the love of your life, or you might end up with a relationship that is just a dynamic, a trap, right? So you want to keep learning about attachment style so that you get good at picking the right fruits. The decision you make will have consequences, and consequences are like secrets, right? You never know what they lead to until later after you've made them. And they do have a domino effect, a rippling effect. The partner you choose right now, you're choosing a partner who is a father to your children, a grandfather probably to your children's children, and the way they interact with them will affect their emotional well-being, their intellectual well-being, the way they socialize. There's always a rippling effect with the decisions that we make. And we never know, because there's so many rippling effects. It's like a domino effect, right? So make sure that the first domino to fall is a secure partner. Because you might end up like bringing very wonderful children in a beautiful, happy family, and your grandchildren might have a great blessing, or things could go south, right? So your choice will have a ripple effect for generations to come. Choose a secure partner. So, well, thank you so much for staying with me all this time and learning about secure relationships. If you want to follow me on social media, I am available on YouTube and TikTok at Post Traumatic Bliss. Facebook, you can search me. I'll be Monica Canini. Instagram, Monica Canini 1. And if you want to shoot me an email, email me at wiredhappiness@gmail.com. I want to thank you so much for being with me and learning with me. Again, shoot me a comment below and let me know, if you have any questions. And for tuning into Post-Traumatic Bliss, again, my name is Canini. And until next time, may God bless you.